There's plenty of time for you to piss her off, Ross. Don't worry. Good day to you, good people. I try not to say good afternoon, good morning, good evening, or wherever else, because as Chris has just pointed out, sound like I'm in the Truman Show. You are listening to Brown and Marsh, episode number 15. Yeah, yes, Chris is nodding. Episode number 15, which seems weird because we're issuing number 13 tomorrow. But, we like to get these things in ahead of schedule and, make sure that we can take a couple of weeks off if we need to, or if people don't want to talk to us for a while. So, it's a beautiful day in the neighbourhood. He's over in Yorkshire anyway, and I can see the light shining behind Chris, so it's either the reckoning or it's nice in Manchester as well.
There's always blue skies in Manchester. I don't know.
Mate, I lived there for about 7 years. It's not. It's not. Let's be honest.
It's lovely today, though. We're making the most of it today.
Yeah, and of course I'm there tomorrow, so it's going to pee you down, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Probably will. Yeah, I'll bring it across from Yorkshire. Anyway, you well, Christopher? It's ages since I've seen you.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
It was yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah, it was yesterday. We recorded.
Yeah. I'm very well. I'm looking, like I said, sun's shining. It just seems to make everything seem brighter and nice, doesn't it? So let's keep that positivity going.
Oh, you're very chirpy. Do you think the weight of the world has come off your shoulders since you shaved the heavy beard off?
Perhaps that's something to do with it. Yeah, I'm a bit more clean shaven today. Yeah. What about you? How's life going for you, Ross?
I can't complain, my friend. Like you, wearing a T-shirt. So, you can tell it's summer weather when we're just lazing around in T-shirts. And it's nice to look out the window and we're not looking like October. Because it has done for the last few weeks, hasn't it? It's actually starting to look like spring.
Yeah. I like
spring.
Yeah, use that word. I like the change. I like the change of seasons. It's a nice feeling, isn't it? So, yeah. So, have you got a tip of the week from a marketing perspective?
Hoping you wouldn't say that. I was hoping you'd talk first, and I could think one. Actually,
I could go on.
Oh, go on. No, well, but I did. I have just literally in that sentence thought of one, and I don't think I've said this before, but it's one thing. I was talking to them about a podcast, and they were talking about the investment they'd have to make. I said, well, just a minute. Forget it being a one-off. You create a podcast. You've then got an hour's worth of content. Now you can have it as the long form, an hour-long episode. You can chop it into little segments for your social media. You can use it as a basis of a blog post. I worked out, I think I got up to 10 different things you could get out of this 1 hour-long episode. And that's the thing. Don't think of things in isolation. Because great marketing, everything ties up, everything interconnects, and it reinforces itself. So, I mean, an example for when we record an episode of this, afterwards, I then take a snippet and create a social media post with a little video as a teaser or an advert, and you put that onto TikTok. I'm told. I don't know anything about TikTok because I'm old, and we do a long form YouTube version. I even sometimes use it as a basis for writing a blog post about something we've talked about. It's triggered something in my head. So it's not to think of things in isolation, just see how things all connect together. Yeah. And, the big message can go out and be reinforced in 5 or 6 different ways.
Great.
How about you, lad?
Yeah, well, it's in a similar vein, just think about it before, this will be the 15th podcast and the 15th hint or tip, so forgive us if we
may have to stop doing this soon, because I'm running out of things to say.
Have I mentioned visibility creates
opportunity? Yes, you have, and I am seeing you tomorrow, so we'll stab you now.
Oh yeah. Well, in a similar vein, I was sort of thinking about content and how to make the biggest impact. Yesterday we had our guest Jamie Ryder, who taught me a lot about content and how to make the biggest impact, and really just around the sort of personalisation. So even when I'm doing cold calls or warm calls or email campaigns, I'll try and personalise it. I'll drop in something that's relevant. I'll mention someone's name, or I've sent you this message on LinkedIn. We've been connected on LinkedIn for since January 2024. I'll make it absolutely specific so that it's not seen as it's just one of those spammy messages.
Yeah, it's not copied and pasted.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I get so many of these emails. Chris, I've been told you're the best person to speak to about office lighting and office furniture. Well, I'm not sure why you've got that information. Well, you've obviously not.
I keep getting, we've spoken to somebody else in your office. I'm like, where? I'm in the spare bedroom at home.
Exactly, and so it's first impressions count, don't they? So it's just being careful with things like that. I think using personalisation just makes it look a bit more genuine, a bit more authentic, and you can have a better impact, and I think you're far more likely to be able to continue the conversation. So that would be my tip of the week.
Wise words indeed, Christopher. You are, but to say, I think speaking to Philosophy Jamie yesterday has rubbed off on both of us.
Perhaps.
I mean, I said it at the time. Interesting guy. I mean, there's no pressure at all on our guest today, but the guy we spoke to yesterday was fascinating and made us very thoughtful.
Yeah.
So
I am more than confident that our guest today is going to be perhaps even more interesting because I've known her for longer, so
it's a high bar to set,
Christopher. Well, we'll see. Time will tell. So, guest of the week, would you like to introduce ourselves, what your name is and where you come from?
Hi, I'm Una Cottrell. My company is 45 Not Out. Now, it won't really... It's not really relevant for you two because you're blokes.
What gave it away?
What it is,
okay.
I'm building a community, an online community of, I call them fab, sassy women aged 45 and over, no upper age limit. And it's for women they haven't given up. They are still serious about life, work, and everything else. And in particular, I think what the common bond that we've got is that women get to sort of their mid and later years, and in work, in society, in general, we tend to get sidestepped a little bit. We lose visibility, certainly. We have to work hard to be seen and recognised, and in the workplace as well. I've heard, since I started 45 Not Out, I've heard countless stories of women who may be in corporate life and they have a fabulous career and rise through the ranks, but they sort of hit their mid-years, 45, even some women saying 40, they can see the change in attitude towards them, and they don't really know why, because they're still as effective, they're still as ambitious, they can bring just as much to the table, but it seems to be this attitude in society that it's general that sort of older women probably don't get the recognition that they deserve. And as I say, I'm saying that, but you want to speak to my 400 members of my community and they will sort of tell you that that's the case as well.
Is it a loaded question to say, why do you think it happens? Or is this a 2-hour description about the the patriarchy and hegemony and things like that?
I don't think so, Ross. I think what it is I think it's just inherent cultural values. If you go back a few generations, women of 45, 50, 60, they weren't as prevalent in the workplace, were they? Because it just wasn't done. That was the culture then. So probably my generation, I'm a Gen Xer.
All the best people are, my love.
It's probably, we're sort of at the coalface having to sort of fight hard for this change in cultural values. And I think the millennials behind us, since their teens, you've got to admire the millennial generation because they call out anything that's unfair, don't they? And rightly so, but they've had the confidence and the means to do that. So my generation, if we can sort of do anything to make things easier for them when they reach those years, well, that's a job well done. But I think my generation has it the hardest because we're at the coalface and we're trying very hard to sort of change. Just as I say, it's not. It's just inherent. It's just how things are.
It's just sexism, pure and simple sexism.
It's more ageism than sexism, I think, Ross. I mean, sexism probably does come into it, but I think it's more ageism because we had a conversation off air, didn't we? And I'm sort of talking about older men. And I have a newsletter that I've issued for a number of years. And I've got a couple of men on it. I've got mostly women, about 250 women, and I've got a couple of men who subscribe, bless their hearts. And what they say to me, I mean, they're in the right age demographic. I think one of them's in his early 70s. And it's still very, sort of still doing stuff, still mentoring young business people and still adding to, giving loads of value. But what they say is that the issues that I'm talking about in the newsletter about women being overlooked a bit still is relevant. It's from older men, which surprises me and probably a lot of other women, because if you think of maybe board members or partners of professions or anything like that, it's usually sort of mid and older men. So
do you think? Sorry to talk over you. I do apologise. There's the ageism that you and I, broadly the same age, we're both going to experience. People forget the fact that we actually know what the bloody hell we're talking about because we've done this a long time. But then there's the added sexism of, shouldn't you be back at home, love? Or really, aren't your best years behind you? Whereas, you see it in newsreaders, for example. You've got the old baldy guy like me who's considered a sage because he's been doing it a long time. But once the crow's feet appear in a woman, she's too old because she's not the young doggy bird anymore. So I don't know. I mean, that's why I think there's a sexism element of it.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it like that, Ross. I mean, these days you have to be careful about talking about sexism, don't you? Because I think society thinks that it's probably not as prevalent as it actually is. So,
I remember a friend of mine years ago when I was at university said, the thing you've got to remember, Ross, is you are inherently sexist, racist and homophobic. Not because you're a bad person, but because you're a straight white male. And it's the opposite of what you are. So there's that automatic, you're not like me. But if you're a decent person, sorry, Chris.
Because there's a difference.
Yeah, there's a difference. It's not what you are.
Right.
And I think he was a bit too simplistic, but I do think there is still an element of that. But the decent folk amongst us fight against it and go, well, no, And I do wonder, because men are still wrongly, I was going to say rightly or wrongly, there's a gender inequality at the top of things. You're saying about partners in professional firms, etc. Is it almost the blokes trying to protect their little ivory towers that's keeping the women out?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not sure that it's people have that conscious thought. It's just how they behave. It's just the way of things because of the cultural things.
I don't think it's conscious. I think it is unconscious.
Yeah,
unconscious bias.
It's like the I did sociology. They call it the mores, the values. Of just how things are and traditions, I suppose, and it's the way it's always been. So
yeah.
It probably would be somebody brave that wanted to change that.
Yeah. And you mentioned at the start of our conversation that it's not quite relevant to Ross and I, but perhaps it is, because you need to. You're all about raising awareness, aren't you? And you need to make sure that the males understand where you're coming from. If there's a sort of not an ignorance to it, but it just we just didn't realise, or we didn't know, or whatever that sort of looks like. So, you talk about,
isn't it, getting
allies. Yeah, just making sure that people actually understand and see your point of view and the perspective that they should do. Presumably, you talk about the 400 members that you've got that you communicate with. Do they all have experiences and stories and sort of tales of the where things have impacted them? And is that the kind of the use of the platform to share those?
Yeah. And it's that, and plus I've got a private Facebook group, and that's where the most engagement takes place, yes, it's about that, talking about things that they've experienced, but also it's about support as well, because trust me, it's not easy being an older woman in business at all. Sort of you have to fight hard. So it's more often than not, I say it's more sisterhood than anything else. It's like support and encouragement, and like you say, sharing of stories certainly, but yeah, and it's just, and as well, life issues as well. We've all got or had aging parents, and obviously there's a degree of caring for parents. Biologically we change, which isn't easy. I don't really talk about menopause too much because there's a lot of people out there that do, but obviously it's one thing that affects us at this stage in life, and in some cases it can be absolutely brutal.
Oh God, yeah.
So yeah, and then like me, empty nester.
I can't bloody wait for
there's
that.
There's a lot of challenges.
I've got to be honest with you, I can't wait for empty.
Well, my two, they, as soon as they finished uni, they were off. I think I've said before, I've got one living and working in London and has been since uni, very well established down there. And then the other one's going this summer. So luckily I live just off the M6, so we schlep up and down to London, and it's no hardship whatsoever. It's lovely going down to London. We both enjoy it. But sort of at the minute, the youngest is in Manchester, and although we don't see her that often, it's nice to know that she's on the doorstep. So we've got that thing about, sort of 250, 300 miles away. So yeah, it's just all these issues that come together, and I think it just impacts to women at this stage of life.
I think blokes,
great.
By the nature of blokes, I'm trying to think the best way to put it. Not that they don't care. They do care about the kids being away, but I think it always hits the mum more. And maybe because men are meant to hide their feelings more, perhaps.
I think so. It's like this weekend we were out and about, and I'll tell you a bit of a personal story here. We were out and about, and I went into a shop with my husband, and we found a little statue. Perhaps that, well, you can't see it, but small statue, not a thing, like a carved thing. And it was two girls.
Listeners, she's indicating approximately 8 inches.
Yeah. Yes, probably about 8 inches. Yeah.
See, men don't always lie about
two girls. These two girls stood together, and the slightly taller one had their arm around the younger one, and they were obviously faceless. They didn't have faces. It's one of those quite modern things. And I just looked at it and I thought, God, that's my two. So I bought it, and being the sentimental mother that I am, it now stands proudly on the mantelpiece downstairs on the fireplace, underneath the family photo that we've got. So
lovely.
Yeah.
It's like a generalist statement you just made there, Ross. Because I don't mind.
I'm speaking in stereotypes.
My emotions with my children, and I do. But I miss mine if I don't see them for 24 hours. But,
I won't go that far. No, I think it's the natural male reaction is to joke, or it's to have that disconnect. Right. I think I am speaking in broad brush stereotypes, but I think that's maybe one reason why men aren't as affected by the empty nest thing, because rightly or wrongly, they've not maybe don't be involved in the day-to-day as much as mum has. Wrongly, 9 times out of 10.
Maybe that came from their own experiences, perhaps, as growing up as well. And but times change, don't they, Una? So, tell us a bit more about your past and what sort of led you to where you are now. I mean, I knew you in a more of a sort of marketing perspective, more a marketing role.
Yeah, that's right. That's been my background. That's what I did probably for 20 odd years. And I always wanted to be self-employed. Back in the day, one of my first jobs was working for the Inland Revenue. And I set it was
don't
my
make
job.
Any money out of this, okay? We make no money out of this whatsoever.
now called HMRC, aren't they? They're not in the revenue anymore. And I was helping self-employed people get set up, like with all their recording, that they were self-employed and all the rest of it. And I was processing these application forms because this was pre-internet and pre-computers. And I was doing these forms and looking what people were doing and all the rest of it. And I'm thinking, and I was only a very raw 20-odd-year-old. I was very immature, but I was doing this and I was thinking, blimey, I'd love to do that. I'm sure I could do this, but I never had the confidence. So anyway, went through, left the Inland Revenue, got into marketing, quite enjoyed it, did well, worked for a few companies, sort of worked as part of a national team, ended up working for 2 or 3 of the regional offices, started off with 1 and then had 3.
Was this in-house or agency?
Yeah. No, this was in-house. And then I had my first child and they played into my hand really because I didn't really want to go back after maternity leave. So they made me redundant. So that meant I had a little bit of a pot, not much, to go freelance. So I did. My first child was about 6 months old, but this is where having a husband who worked shifts coming in, because we've talked previously, husband's a retired police officer, and it meant that I could accept little bits of work, only low-key, because obviously the little girl was still a baby, but I did that for years, and I worked for companies. I had one client for about 6 years, and it was just pre to the digital revolution. Yeah, digital revolution. Yep. I did that quite comfortably, and then obviously with the introduction of the internet, things changed considerably. So I had to work very hard to keep up, learn everything, and it was sort of being slightly older than everybody else, but I managed it. And then I discovered what was going on in Manchester, and I think that's where Chris and I bumped into each other, sort of, because I don't know if it's still the case, Chris, but back then you could network every hour of every day, couldn't you?
You could. The good old days.
I think they still can, to be
honest. Well, to an extent.
You do.
But, I do my best. But in those days, it wasn't difficult to find the opening of an envelope or some sort of gathering, and it was.
I'm just going to do a quick sidebar here, because I'll clear him up. Chris, do you know of anywhere that I could find out where every networking event in Manchester is?
It's funny you say that, actually. Yeah, there is a website that...
There's a website? Oh, what's that website called, Chris?
It's called Circles Manchester. You'll find it at circlesmcr.co.uk. It helps people find networking events. You're able to search by day of the week, time of day, how much you want to spend on a ticket, just the events in Greater Manchester, and you can also set up a weekly... a notification to receive a weekly email.
That sounds fascinating, Christopher.
It does, doesn't it?
What are the guys who run it like?
They're lovely. One of them's very nice. He's been a previous guest on our podcast.
And what about the other one?
He's all right.
Yeah. Chewing it, Chris.
Yeah.
Just for those who haven't figured it out yet. Yeah.
It's me. But you're right, Unit. Yeah, we probably did meet at a networking event, I'm sure, and plenty of mutual friends as well, haven't we, over the years?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one thing about networking. I mean, like Chris saying, it sort of creates visibility and opportunity. But one of the things I enjoyed, and still to this day, however many years later, you form your network, don't you?
Right. Yeah.
You find the people that you just sync with, and even now, I mean, gosh, I probably stopped. Well, I did stop networking in Manchester when COVID hit, and I've not really been back, to be fair. But still, even today, if I had a query or something, I know who my specialists are and who I could trust to ask for the right advice.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be one of my questions, and how network has impacted you, even before COVID and after COVID. What sort of things, or what words would you use to describe networking in a sort of emotional way for you?
It's inspiring. And uplifting, because these days I tend to sort of specialise in attending networking events that are women focused. And also as well, because I live in Cheshire, and I'm getting on a bit, I don't want to be schlepping into Manchester like I did do. So I'd be in Manchester City
Will you
Centre.
stop saying you're getting on a bit? Because we're about the same age, you know.
Sorry.
You know.
Sorry.
And I like to think I'm in the first flush of youth. I might look in the mirror and see otherwise, but stop saying getting on a bit. Upsetting, frankly.
It's how you feel.
Sorry.
It's how you feel.
Yes.
Yeah. But no, it's just so I've concentrated on Cheshire-based and even Staffordshire. There's quite a bit going on in North Staffordshire as well. There's certainly a lot of ladies' business women events in Cheshire. Take your pick, really. One thing I did last week, and I think this is possibly where you picked me up to ask me about the podcast, Chris. I put a post out on LinkedIn last week. I think it was just asking about women's focused networking events. It's the biggest response I've ever had on LinkedIn.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely inundated.
Keep asking. Yeah.
I know I worked in Chester for a few years, and about 5 years. So I was always looking for networking events around there because I didn't really know many people. But yes, so many of them were women only. It was like, I didn't think there was any chance of me passing. 6'2", bald with a beard. I thought there's not much chance. But is there? Why? I mean, your first reaction is thinking, "Oh, ladies who will lunch, who've got a little business on the side." But it's not. It's proper, hardcore, serious networking events.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's sort of going back to what we said earlier about relevant to men and how we feel about it. I mean, even as an example, Fresh Walks, you and I, we all know the guys that run Fresh Walks. Catcher has got a women-only walk around Style Woods, and I love Style Woods, and I'm almost a bit like, can I not come along? And, they post all these pictures, and it's 30 women on the hiking gear, and they've had a great day, and they've all gotten to know each other, and whatever impacts have come out of that, which is wonderful. But again, I'm almost a bit like, I want to come along to that. So, I'm not saying it works both ways. It's just, it's sort of having that awareness, isn't it? And understanding what that's all about and why it's for women only and what that conversation sort of looks like. So
it's not a shame that there has to be like that, though. I mean, maybe I'm just being naive and idealistic. I understand why. I'm not stupid. I understand why, there needs to be female-only events. But I don't know. It saddens me. Yeah. I'm not saying I cry myself to sleep about it, but it'd just be nice if we didn't have to do that.
Obviously, like I said to Chris, I've done mixed networking events, and I go to one in Altrincham I'll name check Alice McCann from Altrincham HQ. He does 1 month. It's Alex and his sisters, which is women only, and then there's the Smiley Happy People, which is a mixed one. I think if it's a mixed event, not necessarily just Alex's, but if it's a mixed event, I think it's a different vibe than if it's a women only vibe. It certainly feels. When I go to women-only events, it feels more supportive. Right. Maybe it's because women are more in touch with the feminine side, and like you can sort of go up to somebody that you don't really know, and if it's a good event, you can probably talk about a business problem that you've got, and it will be, there'll be no judgment, certainly, and it will be understood. And, oh, yes, I think of that, and a lot of sharing. I think if you've got men there, I'm not sure that would happen the same.
I think the problem that I know for me, and I think Chris is similar, is that we're not the kind of blokes who would take over. We're not the alpha male, look at the size of my tackle kind of blokes. We are, most of my friends are female. I'm going to guess Chris has got plenty of female friends as well. That are just friends. Oh, so sure. We're the kind of the good guys in the conversation. But yes, I know loads of people my age, younger, older, who everything's a pissing competition, basically.
Yeah, it's just people, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's blokes.
Yeah. Well, I agree.
Tend to be like that.
Yeah, I think
it can be, but
you can get into a room and just decide. I mean, I've been to networking events where I've decided and listen to someone speaking, I think I've already made a decision about you, that first impression counts, like we commented earlier. And you're not the type of person that I want to spend my time with. So whether that's male or female, I think is one of those things, isn't it? But
but I think in the as Eunice saying, the sort of supportive thing. Yeah, I often have conversations with people that I know won't lead to any work, but it'll help them, and it's the karma thing. Hopefully, it's helping paid back.
Yeah,
Whereas,
that's the big thing with Una that you just want to help, don't you? Una? I think that's blatantly obvious. It's about helping other people and creating a voice and creating a platform for.
If I just quickly tell you about how it came into fruition, It's a bit ironic this, but I didn't think, let's start a community for midlife and older women. It started with a podcast, and like I said, because I was a bit older, and particularly at that time, I was working with the digital and creative media, of which there's a complete hub in Manchester. That's brilliant. But I found it really hard to be taken seriously that I could come and do the marketing that said I could, because these business owners were quite young and hadn't probably worked with anybody of my age, and probably felt, it's like working with my mum. Why should I sort of give her any work, sort of thing? So I did come up against a bit of ageism when I was trying to get clients. I did get clients. I mean, I'm not sort of tiring everybody with the same brush. There's some very forward-thinking people out there, and they trusted me enough to sort of give me some work. But a lot of the time, particularly at networking events, I'd go in and I think, crumbs, people are, you can tell when somebody's listening to you and being receptive. And I just felt very, I can't think of the word, but, sort of not taken very seriously. But I couldn't rock the boat. I had a new business. I had to play the game. I had to, keep chipping away. And I did, as I say, I did get some work, but it always sort of annoyed me that there was this inherent attitude, certainly in those sectors, because of the age range is obviously graduates and people like that. So I bit it back for about 4 years. And then, ironically enough, podcasting crossed my radar. And so I thought, I wonder if there's any value in this, sort of doing a bit of a podcast. So I put a shout out to the village where I live, and I got a fabulous woman who'd set up her own business to come on. We recorded one episode and that did well. So I continued. And this was when COVID hit as well. So this was like my COVID project. So I did 21 episodes. I've not done much with it since. And I just got all sorts of people from all walks of life. But the message was always the same, that people in this age range did feel a little bit, what's the word? I can't.
Ignored?
Yeah, ignored, sort
Invisible.
of. Yeah, certainly. And it was like, as I say, as we said at the start, this inherent attitude towards women in that demographic. So the big realisation for me for doing the podcast was, because I thought, it's just women in business, but it really wasn't, because I had major business owners. I've had the ex-communications director from Greater Manchester Police on there. I've had all sorts of people on the podcast, and they all say the same, that yes, they've reached this age and a little bit of invisibility does crop up. So with that, I did the podcast, and I thought, because I wanted to be a journalist when I left school, and I never actually got there, but I've done a ton of writing ever since. So I thought, start a newsletter. So I started a newsletter again in 2020, and I still issue it now, and sort of wrote about things. And then the feedback there was like from women sort of saying, yes, I've experienced this. So it just sort of gave me the feedback that, yes, this attitude towards women in this demographic is just inherent. And I don't think it's anybody's fault. It's just how values have been, and are they changing? I think they might be changing. I mean, I tend to look on the media like Fiona Bruce, the newsreader.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
She's probably the anchor of BBC News. She's 61. And then...
Crikey, I don't know she was that old. Looking good on it, yeah.
Well,
But that's the thing. She's looking good on it. That's the first thing I said. She's a highly intelligent woman and a great journalist.
She's brilliant.
Yeah, I know, but I hate the fact the first thing I said was she's looking good on it.
This is it. This is one of the things I have. I mean, I think if a typical man was to think of like a 60-year-old woman, they would think of somebody like the Gran, probably. But now, 60-year-old women aren't like that. You've got, as I say, you've got Fiona Bruce, you've got Leslie Manville, the actress who can do no wrong. You've got loads of Lorraine Kelly. I mean, has she given up as yet? But she's still going strong and still the linchpin at ITV. So it's like that's I think what I'm fighting against. It's like people are thinking 60-year-old women are these, as I say, like the grandmother and not the viable,
Whereas 60-year-old men, their thoughts are mature. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
Credibility and yeah.
Grey hair in a man is to me. Oh, he's obviously trustworthy, and a woman, she's getting on a bit, isn't she? And it is sexism. It's. I mean, like I say, I hate the fact the first thing I said about Fiona Bruce was she's looking good on it. The woman presents question time, for God's sake, But women are judged by their appearance much more than men are.
Yeah, that's another inherent value, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, yeah. So, but I mean, what's the aim? Are you is this sort of looking for change or a movement or a is the podcast and the platform what you envisaged when you started it? What do you sort of want to get out of it, I suppose, is what I'm
I don't think I thought about forward thinking. I just like the idea of dabbling with the podcast, and then because I love writing, I did the newsletter, and then I realised that people needed a place to congregate, so I started the Facebook group. I mean, I didn't think it would be a business, but very much I want it to be a business. I'm not quite there yet. I'm still growing it, but I want it to be a viable business. And then I think I would like for it to, well, I don't know. How do you make change? I don't know. If I could get into somewhere where I could have a bit of an influence, that'd be good, because I'd happily talk. And that's another thing as well, people listening to this. I've made it a bit of a goal this year that I would love to do any talking. So if anybody's listening to this and they would like me to sort of speak at an event, my experiences and what I've found, yes, I'd love to.
Yeah.
Talk.
I won't say the name of the event on here, just in case, but the event I'm meeting Chris at tomorrow, I could see you actually. I'll speak to you off air, but straight away, because that's a room of senior people. And that's the thing. Yeah. It needs to change opinions. And like Chris said earlier, it is as much women need to value themselves much better, but also men need to stop being dickheads. Because it is, it's like I did a marketing campaign with Cheshire Police about violence of women against girls, but we didn't talk to women, we talked to the guys, the late teens, early 20s, about the way they spoke about women and the attitudes towards women, because that's the way you change it. You don't get, the women look after yourself. They wouldn't have to look after themselves if it wasn't for the idiots. Yeah. So it's that, I think it's the same kind of thing, isn't it? You need to almost let the blokes know they're wrong.
Yeah, well, they're doing that in schools. I'm sure I've seen something on the news this week where they're going in at year 6 in primary, so that's 10, 11-year-old boys, and they're sitting down. They're not talking to the 10, 11-year-old girls. They're talking to the boys, and they're telling them just how to behave with girls, before they go to secondary and they can get influenced by the older boys.
And the Andrew Tates of this world and people like that.
Wow. Yeah. It's another rabbit hole. But it's exactly that. I think it's just making men aware of the impact that perhaps they're just not thinking about. Just as an example, just walking down the street, and if it's late at night and there's a female that's walking in front of you, she's naturally going to feel quite intimidated because she knows there's a male walking a few steps behind her. Even though if that's me, I'm just thinking I'm going this way because my house is just up there. I'm not thinking. So it's crossing the road or making her aware that I don't know, whatever that sort of looks like, but just being aware of the impact that it can have and how another person can feel. I'm sure it can work for males as well.
Like I said, it's the same whether you're talking about the LGBTQ plus community, or or whether it's Black and Asian friends or whatever. It's going, mate, I don't get what's happening to you because I'm not you, but I don't think like that. I treat you as an equal, but all the good stuff, and say, if you need somebody, I'm here. And it's that kind of, allyship. And just being a decent bloke, being a decent human being, and hoping it rubs off on other people.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah.
So vote for me on May the 7th. No.
That's your acceptance speech. Yes. So obviously we talked about, the desire to be on a speaker panel, and what else looks like what does the future look like for you? What else would you like to do? What would
I'd like to increase my community. So if there's any women listening to this, I mean, will you two post links of where people can find them? Come along and join, and the more because there's power in numbers. I mean, if we want to change this, we've got to. Or if there's anybody who runs a similar platform, that aligns with mine, get in touch and see about collaboration or something, because, And as I say...
sorry.
I'm just going to say, like my generation, Generation X, we're like the generation at the coalface, banging away, and just hope that by the time we're all no longer here, that the millennials, when they come up to these years, they have an easier time of it. But something tells me I think they will, because as I said before, they are not the generation to take any unfairness, so they will do something about it, and more power to them, good
Look
for
at the
them.
change between our parents' generation and us. Our parents born in the 40s, we were born in the 70s. The change in that 25 years is immense. You're not at home in a pinny baking cakes and that kind of thing. I'm not saying my mum wasn't necessarily, but maybe her mum was. So it's just, I think our kids will learn from our example.
Oh God, yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Are there any other platforms that are similar to yours or that complement yours, Una?
There's a lot on. My newsletters on Substack, and I think there's quite a good few on there. There's a lot of coaches out there. I'm just trying to think. There is one in London, but she's the ex-editor of something. I can't think of the name. It might be 50 Thrive. I'm not sure, but yes, there are a few around. And yeah.
Well, no. Is it 45notout.com, the website? I know I found it by Googling your name.
No, it's Una Cottrell, straight through. That's UNACOTTRELL.com. And you'll find everything about 45 Not Out there.
Yeah.
I mean, so like Chris has said, so it's a combination of growing the community, but also almost becoming a voice.
Yeah.
Whether it's you personally or whether it's 45 Not Out, and talking to the decision makers.
Yeah.
But do you think you'd ever want to become a decision maker yourself? Do you think, anything political?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, because obviously at some point I'm going to retire. Not yet, at least 5 years hence, I think. But yeah, I mean, my plan would be to sort of grow 45 Not Out, like I said to you earlier, to be a viable business. It's not really at the moment. It's more of an online community. But if I could sort of flip that and turn it into a viable business where it could offer, I don't know, training to women, webinars, speaker events, that kind of thing. That's probably the next thing I need to do.
Yeah.
And then just, as I say, grow the community to as large as I can. And then probably maybe bring somebody in as a team, or maybe to replace me. And then if I could sort of shuffle off and sit on the red sofa on BBC Breakfast and talk about things, well, I'd be a happy woman.
Yeah, that's absolutely doable. I don't know what's stopping you, to be honest. There's all those things.
Now.
Yeah, Yeah.
Oh, I am, and that's what I'm working hard on now. I am trying to build the community, but you know how hard it is to get seen and heard on social media. But the speaking helps. That's why I'm sort of saying, if I'd love to do some speaking if somebody wants a speaker there, and I have done them. I'm not a complete beginner because obviously I've done 21 episodes of podcasts and I've spoken at Alex and his sisters, and then I did International Women's Day for ISIO, which is the pensions arm of KPMG.
All right, wonderful.
I mean, you've got a background in marketing.
Yes.
You know what to do. Just get yourself out there. There's no point me giving you advice. It's just,
I am trying to do it, but I'm like everybody else. I'm fighting with the algorithms.
Sure.
Well, an argument I've been making increasingly to potential clients, is there's so much noise on social media that it's getting heard. I personally will go back to the podcast, but maybe come up with some criteria to means you can do it more often. So whether it's I'm going to do 15 minutes once a week or half an hour once a week, but something you can stick to. I mean, we've got about 3 episodes edited, all ready to go. And this will be the 4th. It'll be edited by the end of the day and it'll be put into the system. So it means if I get busy, Chris gets busy, whatever, for a couple of weeks, this isn't a time-dependent thing. So that's what I'd consider doing if I was you. For what it's worth, is my bit of advice.
Hopefully, you can just see the enthusiasm that we've got for you, and I think we're fully behind you, and hope that we do see you with more speaking opportunities. I mean, even organisations like Pro Manchester, the Chamber, Business Growth Hub, I know are putting events on as well. Like you say, with Alex McCann, and he'd be a good guest, by the way, Ross. We'll get Alex on in the future as well, and perhaps he can echo some of Una's comments about the type of events and the audiences that he gets together. But so I mean, even with you speaking, Una, I'm coming up with ideas in my head that hopefully we can give you some pointers if you need them. What's stopping you?
It's not like mansplaining, unfortunately. We're just keeping the right side of it, I think.
Yeah, no, just an enthusiasm to
allies. We're being allies.
We're being allies. We want to see you succeed, and
Okay, well, if we're doing events and I need a man speaker, I know where to come.
One of us, basically. I think we're also making sure, because I don't know if Chris has told his girlfriend who we're speaking to today, but I was telling mine. So I think she will be checking, as she's in your target audience. She'll go, were you supportive? Were you? Yes, dear, I was. Yes, please don't hurt me. And I'm sure Chris's other half would be the same.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. No, it's a relevant topic, and now listen, I've really enjoyed the chat today, and it's been really lovely to catch up with you, Una, and to find out more about 45 Not Out and everything that you're doing with it, and it's been too long since we've caught up, so it's been lovely to see what you've been up to, since COVID. It's a regular conversation we're having with people. What not seen you since COVID. So again, you mentioned your website, unacottrell.com. So if people want to find you, is that the best place to find you, Una?
Yeah, because everything's on there. I'm just checking whether it is .com. Just hang on.
It is. I looked earlier.
Yeah, it is .com.
.com, right.
Yeah.
.com if you're listening.
Go on there. It explains everything. There's stories on there, and sort of why I started everything, and all the rest of it. And they can find the podcast, they can find the newsletter, they can find the Facebook group. It's all on there.
Great. Perfect. Yeah, very good.
I'm going to drop you a thing on LinkedIn and speak to you about the opportunity I'm thinking there might be for you. But
okay.
I'll take it off air, love.
Okay, thank you.
All right?
Yeah.
So, Christopher, if people want to get in touch with you, where should they go?
Thank you. Yeah, best place, to be honest, for me is LinkedIn. I'm a regular LinkedIn user and like to post there. So
you're a LinkedIn
tart. So that's the best place for me. I'm sure you can find me on there. Chris Marsh from Agents of. And how about you, Ross?
Well, I was going to say just look for Ross Brown, but as soon as we interviewed Ross Brown a couple of weeks ago, that's you like that one, Una? Chris got quite giddy because he's a former editor of FHM. My namesake. So Chris is like, I used to read your magazine. You're great. Well, it wasn't that bad.
Used to.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Don't worry. The best place is probably, two choices. So if you want to speak to me about general marketing, web development, that kind of thing, rossbrown.co.uk. But most of my focus now is towards podcasting, helping small businesses get their message out there, cut through the social media noise, or work with agencies to work with their clients, give them regular retainers, that kind of thing. And that's northernpods.com, who you will hear a production credit for at the end of this show.
Yeah, great. And you asked about how we're going to promote the podcast. So we've multiple platforms, don't we, Ross? Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music. We're on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube.
RSS.com, Podverse.
Podverse.
Yeah, Podverse. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. It was part of the system.
Okay.
It goes on Podverse. Basically everything. Facebook.
Facebook as well. Yeah.
We're on
So we're growing the audience, and again, just making sure.
brownandmarsh.co.uk as well.
Thank you. That was the important one.
I think you'll appreciate this story. I didn't want to be the first name. I'm actually not shy, but I thought, Marsh and Brown. I just thought it had a nicer ring to it. But I said it a bit quickly, and my girlfriend went, "What's it going to do with Martians?" What do you mean? She goes, "Marsh and Brown." What about your mate Chris? You were not mentioning him. All right, Chris, we're doing Brown and Marsh. Okay, yeah, makes sense.
That's fine. Yes. I'm fine with that.
So thank you very much for your time. Please do subscribe, like, and all that kind of stuff. And it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
Brown and Marsh is a Northern Pods production. Find out more at northernpods.com.